Good afternoon, and welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program.
This program is brought to you by the Southwest TV Translator Association and supported by the Dolores County Broadcasting Network on DCTV.
The News at Noon program is the best assembly of news and local weather for the Four Corners region. Give us your feedback and news alerts at 677-4119.
With all that said, I'm Kendra Cook, and my co-host is Kelsey Kiesling and Jerry Tope with the weather. And now for March 23rd, 2016, here's the news. The Durango Herald reported, born of a three-way partnership of the Colorado Department of Transportation, Southern Ute Community Action Programs, and Greyhound, a daily bus service is approaching its 2-year anniversary, and operators say the route is viable enough to stick around. The two-way fare for Roadrunner Stage Lines bus is $80. The bus leaves Durango at 7 a.m. every day and arrives in Grand Junction at 12:43 p.m. The bus from Grand Junction leaves at 1:45 p.m. and reaches Durango at 7:44 p.m. The bus also makes stops in Mancos, Cortez, Dolores, Rico, Telluride, Placerville, Ridgeway, Montrose, and Delta. Mike Timlin, CDOT bus operations manager, said it's a very important option for residents of Southwest Colorado to connect with the intercity bus network. This kind of route will never make money, but it's sustainable. In 2011, Greyhound discontinued as it was deemed an unprofitable route from Salt Lake City to Albuquerque that included stops in Grand Junction and Durango. But in July 2014, Southern Ute Community Action Programs reestablished service to that corridor of Southwest Colorado with one 473-mile round trip 7 days a week. From Grand Junction, passengers can catch buses to Denver and beyond the same day via state and national transit services. Flat or decreasing funding for transportation is a nationwide issue, and it's a problem for Roadrunner. This year, it received a federal subsidy of $305,000. It's also struggling with lower gas prices. In 2008, when gas prices spiked, so did ridership on Roadrunner's local commuter routes. With prices now around $2, bus services expect to lose passengers who find driving more affordable. By year's end, Stage Lines hopes to buy 2 new coaches for backup, which will be smaller and easier to navigate through mountain passes. The money would come from state FASTER funds approved in 2011 for transit projects. Stage Lines is shooting for $150,000 in ticket sales in 2016.
According to the Cortez Journal, a Grand Junction teenager whose long battle with cancer became a national story and who got a surprise visit from international pop icon Taylor Swift has died, said her mother. The Daily Sentinel of Grand Junction reported she was 13 years old. Delaney Clement's years-long fight with neuroblastoma rose to the spotlight in 2014 when a friend of the then 11-year-old was told she couldn't attend classes at Cap Rock Academy after shaving her head in solidarity. Officials said the friend's bald head broke the school's dress code. Delaney had gone bald because of chemotherapy treatment. The story spread across the nation like wildfire, inducing outrage and calls for the school to reconsider. Administrators later voted to allow exceptions to the dress code in certain circumstances. Wendy Campbell had been posting in recent days that her daughter's condition was deteriorating. Delaney was visited by Taylor Swift in December as she began hospice care and after reaching out to the singer through a YouTube video. Swift and Delaney spent some time together in Grand Junction, posting photos of their visits on social media.
Reported on the Coloradoan.com, critics of the EPA's new ozone standards say Colorado's struggle to reach a near-impossible goal will hit residents' pocketbooks and may create funding lapses for big budget transportation projects. According to EPA projections, the Denver metro area is the only western region outside of California that won't meet the new standard of 70 parts per billion by 2025. The region's 2012 to 2014 ozone layer level was 82 ppb. Northern Colorado has already put in place ozone mitigating regulations like stricter vehicle emissions standards, and state officials are now targeting more regulations on vehicles, lawnmowers, and the oil and gas industry to meet or at least get closer to the new standard. But part of northern Colorado's ozone problem is caused by intermittently high levels of background ozone, or ozone that comes from non-U.S. sources. Owen Cooper, a senior research scientist scientist for the Chemical Sciences Division of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Earth System Research Laboratory, explains background ozone. On a fairly average ozone day in the Denver metro area, 60 parts per billion defined as moderate on the Air Quality Index, background ozone accounts for about 55% of total ozone in the air. That's the highest percentage in the nation. Of all the major metro areas in the U.S., Denver has the highest elevation. Many metro area cities are close to 5,000 feet above sea level. That means the region is closer to the stratosphere, or the ozone layer. Up high, ozone is good because it shields the Earth's surface from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Cooper said, during the day, as the surface heats, you start mixing the air from the surface upwards, and ozone from aloft can come down. Meanwhile, westerly winds carry ozone from Europe and Asia to the west coast. When ozone comes in from across the Pacific, it's going to hit the west coast first and have a higher impact on higher elevations. Ozone above the surface level has a lifetime of 15 to 30 days, which is plenty of time for ozone from regions all around the northern hemisphere to combine and travel here. The state is in the process of creating a new plan to achieve the 2008 ozone standard of 75 parts per billion, which it never has met. The plan will be finished by early 2017, and the Denver metro area needs to meet the old standard by July 2018 to avoid penalties. Federal transportation funding is only granted to places that meet federal air quality standards. If the state can't meet the quality emissions target, the region has a year to meet the standard. If that doesn't happen, the region goes into a transportation conformity lapse, and federal grants and approval for transportation projects could grind to a halt.
According to the Cortez Journal, oil field bankruptcies have surged as oil prices remain at their lowest levels in a decade or more. But a bankrupt company is not the only way industry workers can be left underpaid. An Inside Energy analysis shows that oil workers are turning to the courts, saying they were not paid fairly even during good times. As oil prices started dropping a year and a half ago, class action lawsuits to recover lost wages spiked dramatically. In Colorado, there were 9 times as many wage lawsuits against oil and gas companies in 2015 as there were in 2010. Federal records show oil and gas companies are among the top violators of wage laws, particularly in not paying overtime. The U.S. Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division was seeing sufficient problems with apparent violations by 2012 to specifically target the industry in some regions of the country. Since then, the office has recovered about $40 billion in unpaid wages.
According to the San Juan Record, settling the lawsuit between San Juan County and the Navajo Nation took center stage at the San Juan County Commission meeting on March 15th. A number of people weighed in on the issue, including members of the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission, leaders in the districts being affected, and private citizens. At the heart of the issue is the election districting in San Juan County. The Navajo Nation filed 2 lawsuits against San Juan County, alleging that the County Commission voting districts and the school board voting districts violated federal voting rights acts. Federal Judge Robert Shelby has ruled in favor of the Navajo Nation in both cases, but the details are still being worked out. The school voting districts have been changed for the 2016 election according to a plan submitted by San Juan County. The commission voting districts will remain the same for the 2016 election, but will be changed after the election. The voting districts were created in the 1980s after a previous federal voting rights lawsuit. In all of the elections since that time, 2 of the 3 commissioners and 3 of the 5 school board members have been Anglo. In the 2010 census, 50.4% of San Juan County residents were Native American. The Navajo Nation plan would create a Native American supermajority in 3 of the 5 school districts and 2 of the 3 commission districts. In the recent school district plan created by San Juan County, Native Americans were a strong majority in 2 districts, Districts 4 and 5, Anglos were a strong majority in 2 districts, Districts 1 and 2, and Native Americans were an estimated 53% in the residents in District 3.
According to the Cortez Journal, a bill that sought to crack down on hydraulic fracturing by targeting state oil and gas regulators was killed Wednesday by lawmakers. Senate Bill 129 would have tweaked the mission of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission to balance what some perceive to be a bias on the commission toward industry interests. The COGCC's mission is to foster the responsible, balanced development, production, and utilization of the natural resources of oil and gas in the state, in a manner consistent with protection of public health, safety and welfare, including protection of the environment and wildlife resources. Senator Matt Jones, Democrat of Longmont, wanted to change the mission to administer the responsibility as opposed to foster development. The argument is that the COGCC believes its purpose is to foster oil and gas development, which puts it at odds with its responsibility to protect Coloradans. He could not convince his colleagues on the Senate Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy Committee to support the bill, which killed the legislation 7-2. Senator Ellen Roberts, Republican of Durango, opposed the bill, as did the rest of her Republican colleagues. 2 Democrats, Leroy Garcia of Pueblo and Mary Hodge of Brighton, also opposed the bill. Matt Lepore, director of the COGCC, pointed out that the commission went through significant restructuring in 2007. Lawmakers updated its mission to eliminate a need to encourage and promote development while directing it to pursue responsible and balanced production. That year, lawmakers also increased the board size while reducing the number of industry representatives on the commission. Lawmakers in 2014 also increased fines that the commission could levy on producers. And now, here's our weather report.
Our regional satellite image shows that these clouds you see over Colorado and the cold front with them will dissipate and pass off to the east tonight. The cold nature of the front means that anywhere there is precipitation, it will be as snow. The northwestmost San Juan Mountains in our area is where the highest hopes of accumulating snow will be. In the wake of this cold front, a high-pressure front will set up for a couple of days at least, and winds should lessen just a bit for tomorrow and part of Friday. But Saturday, we'll see them become stronger again as our best chance of moisture for the week arrives just after midnight. Sunday and part of Monday are likely to be a little slower wind-wise till midday Monday, when we will see speeds jump up again through Tuesday, and then drop to more normal levels as Wednesday's arrival of the next chance of moisture reaches us. As the front here migrates eastward to the Central Plains, the Storm Center has noted a portion of northeast Texas and western Illinois as having a slight risk of severe weather today. As this system moves east to the Tennessee Valley and southern Appalachians tomorrow and Friday, those areas will also have that same slight risk. On the west side of this system, very warm and dry air off the mountains on very strong winds will increase the fire weather threat for today and tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center has labeled a lot of the southwest and southern Rockies as an extreme risk, and the southern and central plains as having critical conditions for the spread of wildfires. Many red flag warnings have been issued. For the north side of this system, cold air should allow heavy snow to spread from central and northern plains to the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, with from 6 to 12 inches of snow expected. Also, a swath from southeast Minnesota to Lake Huron may have from 10 to 15 inches. Freezing rain is possible along the southern edge from southern Wisconsin to central Michigan. This path could see up to 1/4 inch of ice, with the northern Lake Erie area seeing ice up to 1 inch. The southeast and east will have a strong southerly flow with seasonal warm temperatures prevailing for the next few days. Afternoon temperatures for that area could be 10 to 15 degrees above normal, particularly across the mid-Atlantic region. Our highs tomorrow through Sunday are expected to be all over the 50s, with Sunday getting into the low 60s. Lows from just under 20 to the upper 20s, with Monday night at 32. Saturday's chance of snow with partly to mostly cloudy conditions for the 5 days overall. So it is still very much spring in the Four Corners. And now back to Kelsey with more news.
According to the Cortez Journal, the Mesa Verde Backcountry Horseman hosts a presentation by Dolores Ranger District titled, "What's the Status of the Calico Trail and Why Is It Closed?" on Tuesday, April 5th at the Elks Lodge, 2100 North Dolores Road in Cortez. The presentation starts at 7 p.m. and the dinner and drinks are available for purchase at 6:15 p.m. Ranger Derek Padilla and Recreation Specialist Tom Rice and Chris Boughton will explain what led to the closure of the Calico Trail and what needs to be done to reopen it for public use. Mesa Verde backcountry horsemen support efforts to make Calico a sustainable trail. The San Juan National Forest Dolores Ranger District reported last summer that sections of the popular Calico Trail, 6 miles northwest of Rico, had been heavily damaged from use during very wet conditions. For more information, visit www.mesaverdehorseman.com.
According to the San Juan Record News, the All Red Go Achieve Scholarship Program has been announced for students in the San Juan School District in Utah. Designed and funded by the All Red family, the scholarship will provide a significant training and funding opportunity for 5 graduating seniors from area high schools. The students will receive $3,000 in scholarship funds, in addition to having an intense training and travel opportunity. The 4 sons of Eddie and Connie Allred, formerly of Monticello, have created the scholarship to help local students to move ahead after graduation. The scholarship developed after an Out of the Blues feature story in the San Juan Record by Maggie Judy. Chance Allred, the Senior Vice President of Sales of Vivint Solar, explained how his tremendous training opportunities as a student at Monticello High School helped trigger his success. Chance and his brother Zach are involved in the management of Vivint, which is one of the fastest growing companies in the country. 2 other Allred brothers, Dane and Darren, left Monticello to pursue medical training. Dane received a degree from the Air Force Academy before becoming an orthopedic surgeon. He was a team doctor for the Boston Red Sox and the New England Patriots and is currently the Chief of Sports Medicine at the Air Force Academy. Darren Allred followed a similar path as an orthopedic surgeon. Darren is now the orthopedic department chair at Dixie Regional Medical Center in St. George, Utah. 4 of the Allred Go Achieve scholarships are dedicated to business and 1 to medical. The 4 business winners will receive training at the Vivint headquarters in Lehi, Utah, and travel to Vivint Solar events in New York City for 4 days with Zach Allred. The medical winner will have a training opportunity with the Allred brothers in St. George. You can get more information about the scholarship program at vivintsolar.com/allredgoachieve.
According to the Cortez Journal, a Colorado landlord will let dogs with good references live in the apartment he rents, but not anyone who backs Donald Trump. Mark Holmes warned Trump voters not to call in an ad he placed last week for the 2-bedroom apartment that's part of his home in Grand Junction. The 62-year-old told the Daily Sentinel of Grand Junction that he doesn't know what to do anymore about the possibility of the GOP frontrunner getting elected, but that he doesn't want to live upstairs from someone who backs Trump. One caller accused Holmes of discrimination, but excluding renters based on their political affiliation isn't prohibited by federal law, like barring them based on sex or race. Holmes' voicemail box was full Monday, and he couldn't be reached for further comment.
The Four Seasons Nursery article printed in the Cortez Journal says if there is one thing that terrifies many gardeners, it's the thought of pruning. Yet proper pruning is the best way to establish healthy trees. Although there are different rules of thumb depending on what kind of tree or shrubs you are dealing with, in general, now is the time to prune. This is especially true of fruit trees, which should be pruned in the late winter or early spring before the blossoms open. The main purpose of pruning for a young fruit tree is to establish several strong scaffold branches that will end up forming the framework of the tree. Begin by carefully choosing several branches that form a 45-degree angle from the trunk of the tree. These should point in different directions in order to form a frame for the future growth, and these are the ones that you do not want to cut. These branches should be at least 18 to 36 inches from the ground and should be about 8 to 10 inches apart. Most of the other branches are the ones to be removed and the ones that you will cut. Do not cut the central leader. Keep in mind that any subsequent branches will sprout and grow from these main scaffold branches, so make cuts just above the buds, which are pointing in the best directions to support future growth. During the first years, your goal is simply to let light into the canopy of the tree so that it will grow well and produce fruit that ripens easily. Exactly what should be pruned depends on your tree. You should remove overly vigorous, vertically growing branches and suckers, small twigs that are growing towards the inside of the tree, and dead or diseased branches. You should also remove cross branches that will rub against one another, and thin branches that will not receive enough sunlight to grow strong. You're not only trying to shape the tree, but to choose the strongest and best branches to help keep the tree healthy healthy and growing well. They tell you to prune using sharp pruning shears, loppers, or a pruning saw. If you are pruning a tree that is susceptible to fire blight, such as pears or apples, be sure to sterilize your tools after each cut using rubbing alcohol or a 10% solution of household bleach to keep the chance of contamination to a minimum. Cut branches as close as possible to the origin of the branch. Never leave stubs that will eventually die and may spread disease or decay into the live wood, but also be sure not to cut into the branch collar on the trunk. Pruning during warmer times of year, when diseases and pests are more active, means you run a greater risk of having them infest your fresh cut. Making the cut doesn't always have to be scary, and with a little care and a good sharp tool, your orchard should flourish this spring and summer.
And now for this week's Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup. A complaint on an erratic driver on 491 was referred to San Juan County in Utah. The Sheriff's Office received a report of damage done to a CDOT vehicle. A report of a possible suicidal individual in Montezuma County was referred to their county. A report of a break-in is being investigated by deputies. A request for advice on a suicidal individual was handled by a deputy. That's all for this week's Sheriff's Roundup. I will have more reports next week, so stay tuned.
And for the high country happenings, we find Thursday, March 24th at Fort Lewis College in Durango, a free sneak peek of a new PBS series to air in April. Meet film director Chris Wheeler and Cliff Spencer, MVNP superintendent. It's called Heart of the World and showcases Colorado's national parks as never seen before via breathtaking helicopter footage. See for yourself why 300,000 have already viewed the trailer of Our Own Backyard. Majestic mountains, red rock canyons, an archaeological sanctuary and World Heritage Site, and the tallest sand dunes in North America. It's free and being shown in the Chemistry Building Room 130. Saturday, March 26th, the annual Easter egg hunt in Cortez City Park will be held between Montezuma Avenue and Main Street at Park Street for kids up to 10 years old. Kids can begin assembling at 9:45 and the hunt begins at 10. Plastic eggs are filled with candy or coins. There's a wonderful assortment of Easter egg hunts in our area this weekend. The best place to find them all together is from the Say What TV channel. Here in Dolores County, that's on channel 24.6, or find their Facebook page of the same name. Also on Saturday, you can dance to the music of Otis Sykes and Vanishing Breed, 7 p.m. at the American Legion in Cortez, ages 21 and over, and the cost is $10. For more details, call 970-565-8151. And for my end note today, Earth's shadow darkened part of the moon today, Wednesday morning, March 23rd, in a lunar eclipse that, if you didn't have cloud coverage, is visible from much of the globe, including Central and Western North America. Space.com says, but don't get too excited, skywatchers. Wednesday's lunar eclipse is penumbral, and the effect will therefore be subtle and subdued compared to the jaw-dropping blood moons caused by total lunar eclipses. And while we're talking about the moon, there's a new book just released called Invader Moon by Rob Shelsky. He asks the question, did the arrival of our moon trigger the rise of civilization? He characterizes the moon as a conquering Death Star brought into our system in pre-Adamite times. He brings to light interesting theories and searches for the answer as to who brought the moon to us and why. A brain twister for sure. We'd love to share information about what's happening to support all of the regional groups, individuals, and communities. So let us know your event by sending an email to dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 677-4119. And we're adding all of the high country happenings to our Facebook page.
Again, thanks for tuning in. This program is aired live at noon and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. on Channel 32.1 Dolores County, on Channel 30.4 in Montezuma County, and their cable Channel 5.
And you can rewatch the broadcast on YouTube at the DCTV News at Noon channel, and please like us on DCTV News at Noon Facebook page and follow us on Twitter.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and all those who are working to bring you DCTV and the News at Noon program from Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. See you next time.